What manner of creature is that? What manner of devil made him? I did.
Well, Guillermo del Toro has finally made his Frankenstein movie, but how is it? It has all the things we've come to take for granted from a del Toro movie. It's gorgeously designed, it's elevated horror, it's a perfectly executed vision, it has an impressively grand scale, and it has a star-studded cast playing a bunch of wonderfully weird characters. All that stuff is par for the course for del Toro at this point. I think it has some pacing issues. It's about 2 hours a movie spread across a plodding 2.5-hour runtime, and the framing device chops up the momentum a bit, but it's a pretty satisfying adaptation on the whole. It delivers the goods as a monster movie, but it's not afraid to dig into the heavy themes of the source material. Jacob Elordi makes the role of the creature completely his own, and you can see del Toro's passion for this story oozing through the screen.
Now, run.
This is the movie that del Toro has been building towards for years. In many ways, del Toro finally making his Frankenstein movie is the culmination of his entire career. The two stories that inspired him the most were Pinocchio and Frankenstein. His signature tales of sympathetic monsters, from Hellboy to Stan Carlisle to the Judas Breed from Mimic, can be traced back to those two influences. He already did Pinocchio in perhaps the greatest adaptation of all time, and now he's completed his destiny by finally doing a Frankenstein film. The only one left is his ambitious, long-mooted Lovecraft movie. There have been dozens of Frankenstein movies over the years, ranging from masterpieces like the James Whale version and the Terence Fisher version, to ghastly misfires like the Kenneth Branagh version and the Max Landis version. So where does this one fall on that scale? I don't think it's as definitive as the James Whale film, and some of del Toro's changes to the book will undoubtedly rub die-hard fans the wrong way, but it's definitely one of the better Frankenstein movies, and more importantly, it's the Frankenstein movie that only del Toro could have made.
In seeking life, I created death.
I really like the semi-Rashomon structure of del Toro's script. He sets up a framing device in the opening scenes, then goes back to show how we got there from two different perspectives. The first half of the film is Dr. Frankenstein telling his side of the story, and the second half is the creature telling his side of it. It's interesting to see Victor's childhood and his relationship with his overbearing dad and the devastating loss of his mother and how all that ultimately shaped his hubris, but I preferred the creature's side of the story, especially the section ripped straight from the book where he hides out in a family home and learns about language and human behavior by observing them through the walls. David Bradley is great as the blind man who treats the monster with kindness, although he's got nothing on Gene Hackman's espresso-making hermit from Young Frankenstein.
Wait! Where are you going? I was gonna make espresso.
Some of what I will tell you is fact. Some is not. But it is all true.
Oscar Isaac doesn't shy away from Victor's least likable qualities. He leans into his arrogance and his selfishness and his short-sightedness, and there are some memorable supporting turns from the likes of Christoph Waltz and Charles Dance, but the undeniable star of the movie is Jacob Elordi as the creature. You'd only know it's Jacob Elordi from seeing his name in the credits. He disappears into the role, not just because he's buried under prosthetics, but because he genuinely captures the naivety and confusion and rapid maturity of this creature that's come into being and been thrown in the deep end. He's an undead monster with superhuman strength. He almost comes off like a superhero in some scenes, but Elordi plays the part with real humanity and a good heart underneath all the stitching and discoloured flesh. He's the opposite of Nate Jacobs. Nate looks like a regular guy, but he's got the heart of a monster. Frankenstein's creature looks like a monster, but he's got a heart of gold. Del Toro has a ton of fun with the horror elements of the story. There's a lot of creepy imagery in Victor's early experiments where he brings a head to life here, an arm to life there, but those creepy experiments are just cinematic gravy. The film focuses primarily on all the lofty philosophical themes Shelley was grappling with. Life and death, human nature, the dangers of playing God. Del Toro doesn't just pay lip service to these themes in the dialogue, he expresses them visually. He uses sunlight as a powerful recurring symbol for the giving and taking of life. At first, the monster fears the sunlight, but he eventually grows to embrace it. He also touches on some ideas that the other film adaptations tend to downplay, like the creature's desire for revenge against his maker, and the oddball love triangle between Victor, the creature, and Elizabeth, played brilliantly here by Mia Goth. There's a great bit of commentary on bad dads and the cycle of dysfunctional parenting. We see that Victor grew up miserable under the domineering abuse of his own father. Then when he becomes a father, sort of, to this creature, he's just as domineering and abusive as his dad was, and it comes back to bite him on the arse. The pieces are all there for this to be a great film, but I think it could have done with tightening up the pace a bit. It's really, really slow. Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley and all of Del Toro's best films took their time to build up the relationships and bask in the milieu, but they never took the piss. Frankenstein does take the piss a bit. Del Toro might have been a bit too precious about his passion project to kill his darlings in the editing room. Out of all of Del Toro's previous films, Frankenstein is most comparable to Crimson Peak, a somber, gothic epic with some horror elements. It's a really beautiful film, but it also tests your patience.
Then I will indulge in rage.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.